Hello, everyone. This is Moayad Aloqaily, and I'm really happy to talk to you today about an AI-assisted blockchain for Metaverse and Industry 5.0. Our agenda for today, it will be as follows. First, I will have a brief introduction about myself and the laboratory that I am working in. Also, I would have to briefly introduce the immersive technology evolution included by what we called AR, VR, MR, and XR. Then I will have to preview some of the metaverse application, mainly including the education, gaming, healthcare. Then we'll talk about what are the main metaverse pillars that help us to gain a successful development and deployment for the metaverse, such as the data collection, transmission, and processing. I will then bridge the gap between what is a blockchain and how we're going to use the blockchain and metaverse application. Then we'll talk about a new revolutionized concept called industrial metaverse, which is a combination of digital twin, industrial Internet of Things, and Industry 5.0. Again, I would love to give you this talk, and I really thank the host and the conference for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself and introduce these talks. My name is Moayad Aloqaily. I am with MBZI University. We are an AI dedicated university. I work in this university as the Research and Development Manager for Artificial Leap Laboratory, which is an AI laboratory in research for graduate level educations. If you have any question or would like to know more about the work that we're introducing in this university, please visit our websites below on the screen to find more about our project, our members, and the partners that we are working for. Let's start by a simple introduction to talk about why we came to this end, and we have what we call today is Metaverse. So essentially, the Metaverse revolution was a gradual development of different, seamless application in different domains such as communication, entertainment, learning, and training. And because of the advancement in the communication, learning, training, and entertainment, people feel that we need to have a more better user experience, or what's so-called interactive experience. So to do that, we have to think differently. Instead of providing the content to the users in a two-dimensional matter, where the user they have to view some videos and audios on a screen by playing some content. We would love to see more interactive, communication or, engagement between the content and the end user. That's why we are seeing today an immersive advances in technology that are bringing different features from science fiction to real world. In this, application, the user can be immersed in different, ways, whether it's in virtual ways, in extended way, an augmented way, and so on and so forth. So to understand the metaverse, first we have to talk about the different, immersive technology, which have been progressed, quickly in the past, 5 years. The first one is what we call virtual reality. Then it has been followed by what we call augmented reality. Then we are seeing these days through the Oculus, development, the mixed reality. So let's just start with the first one. With the virtual reality, as we can see from the screen, it's a computer-generated virtual environment using 360 videos and images, which is completely immerse our users in this image. Once he put, the head-mounted display and transfer him from his current, environment into a new computer-generated environment where he can, interact, see, and, play videos with this environment. So the user is completely immersed in a 3D world that's totally, disconnected from his current environment, whether his office, his room, his, in an airplane. And this generated environment is perceived through what we call head-mounted display or a VR headset. This virtual reality has been seen in different areas like gaming, entertainment, learning, tourism, medicine, and so on. After the virtual reality, we have witnessed through different, social media application, the emerge of the augmented reality, where the augmented reality, it overlays the real environment, your current real environment, with a new injected digital object, generated by a computer programs into your current environment. So your current real environment plus those new computer objects, it's to provide the framework for what we call augmented reality or AR. And the best example for those, the people who used to play Pokemon Go, or the people who used, social media app to, map some object into your current faces and so on. This is the best example for, the augmented reality. Where in augmented reality, also we notice that the user are not disconnected from his real environment, rather he's immersed in his real environment with the existence of a new object. The augmented reality combination is basically a real environment and a virtual object visualized in a 2D images. In a nutshell, as you can see, the steps for that is first to capture the image or the video from the real environment, analyze the image, recognize the object in this image, and inject the new virtual object for various purposes into this image. And by doing so, the user, he can have a better experience of the environment around him. Augmented reality is used in various sectors these days. It has been used in education, in social media app, in medical and tourism, and the market expansion has reached $77 billion by 2025. Further to that, the most also known reality application these days is also what we call mixed reality. And the mixed reality is basically a combination between a VR and AR, virtual reality and augmented reality. The mixed reality is basically merge the real world and the virtual world to create a new environment where the physical and the 3D digital object are coexist together to perform a certain task. By doing so, the user are able, to see and interact with the 3D holograms of the digital object and, in a real environment in front of them in an interactive manner. Moreover, the user also can manipulate those, environment and the object in those environment by changing their location, size, shape. He can rotate the object as we can as we're going to see in the next few slides, and interact with them in a different way. Also, mixed reality uses different, kind of, headset technologies. One of the most popular one is Microsoft HoloLens, and we're going to talk about more in the next coming slides. In the mixed reality, one of the most important features is, the tracking of the movement, of the object, because it is very important to track the strategies on those objects or their positioning. So the real views, the motion, the positioning, everything that the user is doing is in his real environment has to be captured, analyzed, and feed back into the head-mounted display. Various precise calculation and a critical decision has to be taken in order to provide a successful, mixed reality with a high precision and reliability on those applications. So as we can see from the images in front of us, that the user has to be immersed in a three-dimensional way, X, Y, and Z. We have to capture all the real scene. We have to monitor the head-mounted display, position and motions. We have to capture also the distance between the real object in his real environment and the user current object. We have to do a lot of analysis in a real time and decision making. Then we have to generate a new scene for the user and feed it back into the head-mounted display. To compare and to summarize the differences between the virtual, augmented, and mixed reality, as we can see from the current table, the virtual reality is totally immersed in a digital world, where the augmented reality, he augmented the real world itself. The mixed reality is a combination of both with more interactive features. If you also want to see the differences in terms of distance between why we see real reality far away from the computer-generated environment. So with this figure, we can see that the closest technology for the user real environment, or what we call real reality, is the augmented reality, because he's still in his environment and he can see object in his environment. While the virtual reality, it's far away from his real reality because he has been, transmit into a different new environment, and disconnect from his current environment. The mixed reality, the beauty in the mixed reality, that it is in between the augmented reality and the virtual reality, combining the both environment together. Now, moving forward, and the latest and the most popular technologies that research, industry, and academia, they are focusing on is what we call extended reality. Extended reality is basically an umbrella covering all, the reality features: virtual reality, augmented reality, the combination of virtual reality and augmented reality, which is mixed reality, and this will eventually result by having all of them in one framework, what we call extended reality. So extended reality is basically a smart real reality supported by digital world and real life interaction between objects and users. Now, in extended reality, we are talking here about a new reality that it is a combination of digital and physical. With the extended reality, it's also highly depends on human-machine interaction. So the user will be immersed 100%, and his interaction is highly required. This new technology has a big impact in the traditional way how we, provide services. So instead of just being a service-oriented, these days, the experience will be transferred of a quality of experience, a human-computer interaction, service-oriented. So the traditional work we know, the way we, conduct meetings, the way we present, professional development careers, the way we entertain and we go to cinema or concerts, the way we, travel for tourism, it's completely gonna change with the extended reality, technology. Extended reality devices are also very accessible through the head-mounted display, and there's so many technologies, and sensory around them, such cameras, gaze tracker, accelerator, microphones, that capture all, the sensory data around the users, and feed it into the extended reality. And this is the global market of the extended reality is expected to reach a size of 136 billion in 2024 and 1.2 trillion in 2035. Now, let's talk about the metaverse. The metaverse, or what I like to call it, the metaverse, it's basically the different, extended reality objects. So it's a new network of 3D virtual world focused on social connection. So it's another term of it. It's a 3D universe where the user, instead of traveling, or providing a lot of time and effort on interacting with computer software, instead he can interact with 3D universes that combine multiple different, virtual services and spaces. So also the metaverse allow connection with the virtual 3D representation of other character and avatar and NFTs, as we're gonna see in the coming slide. The metaverse is also allow users to work, meet, game, and socialize together in these 3D spaces. Now, metaverse, as we can see from the image on the right-hand side of the slide, it can allow different people from different places on the world with different, heterogeneous environment, join the metaverse, social, work, or network together in a very, convenient way. So it's basically allowing users from different locations to be virtually present in the same virtual environment. It has a high level of interaction through the XR technology. So the metaverse is, paving the way for virtual classroom experience, completely a new meeting rooms experience. So social events is going to be, a big, stakeholders in the metaverse, technology, gaming, and this is not new, as we know that, Roblox has been providing a lot of user interaction with their, gaming platforms for the past 6 to 7 years, and of course, musical concerts. Various technology, of course, is needed, to provide such a unique experience, just as high reliable communication, 6G networking, and, security. One of the two main, concerns that is found when we talk about metaverse and people, being immersed in such technology is also security and reliability. And to talk about security, we have to first understand, the concept of how metaverse works and where security is needed. So if we talk the first example, where two people who want, to meet for any purpose, which whether it's a classroom, is training, is healthcare providers, any kind of services, those two persons first, they have to be in a remote location. They have to have all the equipment needed to be connected to the metaverse, such as the head-mounted display, all the sensory needed for them to capture their moves, their movements, and their voice and their body reactions. In both locations, the metaverse will enable us, or the hardware that's connected to the metaverse will enable us to detect their scenes in real time continuously, track their motion, and feed all of these interaction into what we call, the metaverse virtual environment for scene analysis, combination of these scenes or interaction, new generating, decision, and so on. Then share the generated new scenes with the, metaverse head-mounted display at the end user side. Also, we can see on this heated map that it has been shown from the west to the east that there is a fastly growing market since 2022 and expected to last in 2023 with the, using of the extended reality, technology. And this growth, it can be seen that one of the North American, countries has the largest market of this since 2019. And this statistics and heat map is expected to keep growing for the next 10 years. So further to that, we can see also that since 2019 and expected up to 2030, that instead of talking about $18.6 billion of technology and industry, growth in this market, where we're going to experience almost $9 trillion expansion growth. So the most popular metaverse application, it's gaming, education, and healthcare. And let's explore those. First, when it comes to gaming, the most popular application for gaming is extended reality, where it's to provide what we call new generation of computer games. And to do that, we will require to have a new gaming consoles, different attraction parks, immersing the gamer into the game, and various technologies and sensors to track the gamer's emotions. So in education, it's also a big thing because, traditional and legacy education, systems are not enough since, the rise of coronavirus. So, and because of that, we are continuously looking for more interactive, education tools. And the best one these days in the market is Metaverse. So imagine that we are immersing our current student for a new exciting learning experience using the 3D, interactive projection and simulation. By doing that, we will provide better and deep understanding of the studying concept for our users with this system. So with this, the student will be able to interact with the 3D model to master of a complex concept. They will be able to attend virtual trips to, different, attraction parks or museum or, educational parks virtually. They will be also able to socialize with other peers in the same, whether it's university student or high school student, with other peers from different schools all over the world. So that's will be concluded through immersing various students in virtual classroom where they can interact with each other and with their instructor for better online learning experience. For that, we can also talk about some of use cases in education, such as the immersive classroom, where the main objective is to integrate several participants from various locations, interactive, realistic, virtual environment. So students from various locations are teleported virtually into learning environment, where they're able to gather knowledge and test different paradigms, interacting with their classmate and teacher. The second, application of the metaverse is the healthcare. And the healthcare is also one of the biggest, investors in metaverse and extended reality application. We're immersing healthcare professionals in a combined world where they can interact with their patient, diagnosis, organs, you name it. So that will allow and will open a lot of horizon for this purpose. For example, we can have a better training and for health professionals. We can benefit a lot from the telemedicine and operation. We can provide accurate diagnosis and therapies. And in healthcare, the training in healthcare is a big thing and require a lot of time, cost, and expertise. But with using the metaverse, we expected to cut costs when it comes to training of healthcare professional. We expected to save time, and we expected to have a more open ecosystem for healthcare professional to learn from. Another also scenario for the healthcare is the telemedicine, and we know that healthcare professional experts, they're not available all over the world. But with metaverse and high reliable communication, such as 6G network and fine precision, we can rely on telemedicine to become a real, where a doctor or a healthcare professional or a trainee can perform a surgery or operation or training far away from the world and still get a high reliable result. The last one we're going to talk about here, or the one before the last, is the accurate diagnosis. Because usually the way that the doctors have to perform diagnosis, they have to ask a lot of questions. And sometimes the patient, they are not able to express what's going on in their body. But with metaverse, there will be a better interact and visualization of the patient organ, which will allow us to have a real-time visualization of the situation of progress and the body response. And this will allow for a system feedback and continuous learning, to understand mistakes and, avoid it in other cases. And the last, use case scenario in healthcare is therapists. And where XR is used in areas physiological and physical therapists by immersing the patient inside a well-chosen environment that can help to reduce their pain and speed up, the rehabilitation process. Now, we understand about the different virtual environment, technologies. We talked about the metaverse and how metaverse is, using these technologies to provide different services for different, type of environments, such as education, healthcare, and gaming, and so on. Now, one of the, requirements that we cannot overlook when we talk about this environment is reliability and security. And reliability is a threefold. First, synchronization. Second, real-time response. Three, high precision. And we cannot, have a successful and very reliable, metaverse service-oriented, application without considering the synchronization between the various participants and the users of everything they are doing in real time, with real-time response and high precisions of representing the realistic element and features to create natural immersive experience at every step during processing, the metaverse communication. So this is the first one. How that happened? That happened through the real data collection phase, data processing, scene generating, and scene visualization. And basically, the data processing and scene generating is happening in a remote location on the cloud or edge, mobile edge. While the data collection and scene visualization is happening locally at the head-mounted display user. So usually we collected the data to process it, analyze it, and generate it. Then we feed it back into the user to visualize it. And here we can notice that the data has different location where it's being processed and transmitted. From data to data, from data collection to data processing, we're talking about network processing or transmission. From data processing to scene generation, this can happen remotely or in a local, cloud storage. And then when we feed it back to scene visualization, when we send the new scene to the XR headset, this is also required network, transmission. So among the open questions that need the research community to answer and work on how we collect the data, how we send the data to the cloud, what is the algorithm is being used? Are we using AI technique for the speed unit, data transmission, and data processing, where the data will be processed. Should we process everything in the cloud, or some in the cloud and some in the fog? How to increase the efficiency of the system speed by transmitting this data, and what approaches should we use to do so? So for the data collection, okay, we rely on AI to help us in this regard. So basically, there's two categories that need data collection: real scene, as we said, real scene, capture, and user gesture, analysis. So for the real scene, based on the generated from the XR, detect the real object that is happening and the distance between those objects, and the cameras, enabled in the headset for those real scene. For the user gestures, we need to capture the user behavior, translate it into inputs and requests. Then we have to rely on sensor and cameras, to translate or understand this user gesture and convert it into various types of data. Here we rely on AI a lot to help us in detecting and predicting what kind of real scenes that we are in, where is the dangers that should be avoided, and where is the data that need to be efficiently processed. Data collection also happening in different forms. For example, we have a biofeedback using eye motion, we have handheld trackers, and we have camera-based tracking, as we can see from the images. Now, the data transmission also, it's a big thing in the metaverse. So basically, data generation, data processing, and visualization requires and relies a lot on high communication technology. And to this end, we rely, or we are waiting eagerly for the large development of the 6G technology all over the world to, minimize the possible delay, increase the bandwidth, and process our computation in a more capable way. So here we're talking about not only 2 users, we're talking about millions of users where all their movement, deformation, transformation, leaving and joining the cloud in real time should be captured, analyzed, added, and transformed into a 3D object, added to the metaverse environment, then shared with all the participants who are existing. So here our aim in data transmission for metaverse is to guarantee synchronization and precision all through the steps of the process. Now, the solution for that is efficient communication technology to transport this data with highest precision and lowest cost. And who is better than the 6G technology or beyond 5G technology to handle the data transmission for the cloud? Because as you know, data can be a large size image, 8K, 360 videos. The video rate should not exceed 60 or even 120 frames. In such cases, without object movement, several terabytes of data is expected to be generated and processed. So you can imagine the size of the problem. So what we need here, advanced approaches such as AI-based resource allocation and network slicing to solve this problem. So this is the first one, network and communication technologies requirement. The second one is security requirement, and security is a big, troubling for the metaverse. Whether it's a private metaverse or a public metaverse, users who join this metaverse requires, their data to be continuously in a secure location and, without the worrying about their security. And the best technology for that, is distributed ledger technology, or what we call the blockchain. And blockchain, it's not only secure because it is, a distributed ledger, it's also because of the use of their hash, where it's impossible to change in the record data without, changing the hash or the data. So in this example of a blockchain, to just show how the blockchain works. So the first block in a private or a public blockchain can be the Genesis block, and the other, blocks is being built or connected through what we call the hash of the previous block. For example, if one block is being tampered or is being, manipulated, the entire network will be, deemed inadmissible. Or you have to use a dedicated protocol like a proof of work, proof of stake, and so on, depending on the type of the technology they are using, to create a new block and change on its data and, transmit the transaction to all other blocks. So for example, a proof of work, it takes 10 minutes for Bitcoin technology to be created and added to the network. And in this 10 minutes, it's enough time to ensure that, the block is, verified and and authenticated. So what makes a blockchain is secure for the metaverse is not only the use of the hash, but also the use of proof of work or proof of stake protocol. It's also being distributed, verified, or what we call consensus is in our system. Now we have the metaverse, we have the virtual environment, we have the metaverse, we have high reliable networking and communication. We talked about embedding security. Now we need to execute a transaction between any two participants in this, network through services, through service contract. And the best thing to do that is a smart contract. Smart contract, people confuse it. They think it's the same as blockchain. It's not a blockchain. It's basically a computer generated, it's a computer program referred to as contract stored in the block of the blockchain. So basically Bitcoins or cryptocurrency is the best example for that. And smart contract is the most user feature of the blockchain. And a smart contract, it has a very unique feature that before, executing the contract, it has to make sure that the participant, they have the means, to participate in this contract. And once this mean is locked in the contract, no one can change it, and you cannot break this contract. And what makes a smart contract is secure, not only that is being stored in the blockchain, but it's the feature that it's immutable and distributed. And we have seen a lot of smart contract application is being deployed these days in banks, insurance company, postal services for payment on delivery, and so on. Now, the advantages of using a blockchain with the metaverse is various. For example, digital identity verification, data protection, data privacy, cybersecurity against malicious attacks, and related digital and insurance policy in the metaverse. Also, blockchain provides an advanced manner to handle the link of the huge amount of data that is being processed in the metaverse and virtual environment. Blockchain also like a bridge to connect data between various users in a transparent and trustworthy manner. Same like any technology, the use of a blockchain also comes with a lot of issues and challenges. The most popular one, without going into greater details, is the scalability of the blockchain, transaction and mining, the performance of the blockchain when it's grow to a large network, and its diversity. And to produce some of the solution or the most used solution to avoid scalability, diversity, and performance issues, we rely on AI for a blockchain to improve the efficiency, and boost the performance of the network as well. So, and to do that, we have to look at the layers, the operating system layers or the network layer of these days. So instead of introducing the blockchain as one aspect in an application layer, we have to look at what we call consensus layer, incentive layer, contract layer, that provide automation, autonomous reward mechanism, and consensus protocol in the hardware and the system architecture itself. There is a lot of details and proposal and effort in the research these days. And I picked here some of the recent publications that tackle these issues and, this proposed solution and implementation that I have been talking about earlier. And if you would like to have more in-depth details about this, I suggest you please look at these recent publications of ours. Now, industrial metaverse is the integration of virtual and physical world in the context of industrial production and manufacturing. And through this equation, we know that industrial metaverse is industrial Internet of Things, AI, and XR technology. Now, the Industrial Revolution since 1760, or what we call Industry 1.0 of mechanization, water, and steam power, until of what we call these days Industry 5.0 or mass customization. We look at first the Industry 4.0, which is mainly was in the past like 10 years, looking only at sensory for manufacture, like IoT, doing some AI, capabilities on these, sensory data, and do some data analytics to better understand, the data and their indeed. Industry 5.0 is different thing. It's looking at the Industry 4.0 as a single factor in addition to the human, what we call centered industry, or more of a holistic approach of placing a greater emphasis in the human element in the production and how this human element and human intelligence can change, this process. Now, people also start talking about what's called industrial metaverse, where it provides a lot of, advantages, such as enhanced safety, less maintenance, increased efficiency, reduced cost, better decision-making, and enhanced customer experience. Industrial metaverse also requires, security, and we need to look at the role of the blockchain and AI in industrial metaverse. First, we can, better understand, our asset management. It has a big impact on the supply chain, also management, tracking, and inventories. Smart contracts is also needed here to execute a transaction between, services, data sharing, and, intellectual property management. Some of the industrial, management workflow provided is the following framework, where the industrial Internet of Things sensory data is being processed into a digital, repository, or what's called digital twin, which is a replica of what's happening in real time in, industrial Internet of Things sensory. And this can be, fitted into immersive environment to have an visualize, interact, and feed it back in a complete cycle. And if we look at the digital twin, capability, it's later on can open a complete, horizon of services for the XR, technology. So the digital twin, we can have analytics to learn from it, can have insight and result, which can be connected with a lot of the immersive environment equipment, such as the gesture analysis, the gesture repository, the 3D construction of object learning, and, requesting and feedbacking, and, repository and knowledge as well. Thank you very much for your listening. And if you have any question, please feel free to communicate with me on the email below. And I hope that we can meet one time. I mean, we can meet very soon for a more, in-person discussion, any question.